All right, Ryan, you passed the PMP. You got a smile on your face relatively. How did it go? How was your exam experience, man?
It was great. As far as the exam specifically, it was great. I felt very well prepared. In fact, I kind of felt like after the course, I did the 7-day accelerator course, of course, and then had another week of self-study, then another week of self-study, and I kind of felt like at about the 3-week point, it started to become diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how much more I could kind of like, not to say I'm the end all be all know all, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like, I felt like the return, the more studying I was, I gained tiny incremental things, but it wasn't getting like hugely better at that point. So
I think like the way I would define what you just said is like, cause I could see it too. Cause you're in the coaching calls. I was like, you're ready. Like you're ready. Like there's no jumps you need to make. It's like, boom, you knew what you need to know. And you got what, like 4 above targets. So
right.
Not bad. So, I mean, they're attesting to that as well. Now, cool. What was your basic, like everybody has a story. Like what was your PMP story? Like what was the basics of it? How did it flow through from beginning?
So, I wanted to get the certification. I'm in the military, of course, and
Yeah.
I wanted to get the certification because one, these kinds of things, managing, leading people, managing programs, or managing things and projects is what I do on a day-to-day basis and have done so for 20 years. So, I wanted to get kind of like your podcast says, hey, that the recognition that hardworking project managers deserve, or whatever it was,
Yeah.
So I started probably about a year and a half ago, thinking, this would be a good thing for me to look into.
Right.
But I didn't arrive at a solution until several months ago. So there was an announcement that went out on base about a big box PMP training exam prep program.
Yep.
I got that. I did that. I got my unit to actually fund that, thankfully. They did that. But honestly, like after that, I felt like it was like someone showed me a legal library and said, here, study and pass the bar exam. It was just like a bunch of terms, and there was no comprehension, nor was there any interaction or any ongoing sort of anything like that. So I remember after that, I just felt like, dude, I don't understand anything. Like I've memorized a few things a little bit, but I don't understand it squat.
Yeah.
And so I like to listen to my podcast while I go running. And so that weekend I went and I said, well, maybe I can at least do some studying by a podcast. And I found your podcast. I said, this guy's different, this is a different approach. This is cool. I like this. And so then I gave you a call, and study and true to the way you advertise that, it's different. Mm-hmm. It's a push pull. There's an actual interaction, and I learned so much more. I actually understood things.
Right.
And just really different, so I was very grateful for that. And I really felt like, rather than just fact and figure, put it together, which was, I felt like, if I could characterize the first approach, I felt like now I had actual context and it was like I had that, you gave me the outline, and I now I could see logically kind of how to, what books went where on the shelf, kind of, it made sense to me at that point. So so then the studying at that point, I was actually optimistic and hopeful that I could actually kind of learn things. So
damn, that's cool. I mean, I remember when we talked the first time, and I knew you could do it. You have great experience. I mean, you're leading men and women in, like real life, serious situations based on the job, right? And so, you definitely, this is your life and career that you're doing. So that was really cool. Now, That was an interesting example that you used about like the law library, like, yo, it's all here. Just go and read all these cases, or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I like that reference. Now, when you got into the 7-day accelerator, what was your basic experience like? Because it was self-guided, but the coaching calls, what made the biggest difference for you? Was it the coaching calls or the e-course, or was it together, or what made a big difference for you personally?
Hmm. You know, I'm not. I think it was I don't know if I can say that there was one
Okay.
mechanism of the program that made the biggest difference. But what I do think is it was the overall approach. I don't think
Okay.
it was one particular thing over another. It was just the overall approach of understand, have interaction, both teacher and student, as well as among the students,
Yeah.
and actually explain the process.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just like the way that you uh, provide context and comprehension
Yeah.
when we talk about these things and when you teach them. That it just kind of I have a place to put things, kind of the way you
Yeah.
teach, and it makes sense. So
Cool.
I
It's
think it's just the
structured.
approach overall. I can't really point to one particular thing over another.
Yeah, no problem, man. I think that's good, because I think it, like, independently, one of the things, like, because I think about this stuff all the time, like a lot of people come to me and they're like, well, I'm doing a little bit of this, I'm doing a little bit of this, and I've been doing here, and I feel like I'm almost there. And I'm like, it's like baking a cake or something. Not that I could do
Yeah,
that, but unless everything's together in the right mix and the right approach, then the cake's just going to be a bunch of slop somewhere.
yeah, yeah.
Now that you've gone, like, you went through regular, traditional, whatever you want to call it, boot camps,
Yeah.
big box things, and you go through here, what's the biggest misconception do you think that people have about the PMP or the approach, or what is important? Like, what's that for you?
People tend to, this won't be a surprise to you, but
Mhm.
people tend to, memorize and regurgitate facts and things like that. And that's just really not what it's all about. It's about understanding.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's like anything else. If you can teach it back to somebody else, you got it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest measure.
Yeah.
So
That's
I guess
cool.
that's the biggest. Yeah, it's not about regurgitation. It's not about memorization.
It's about understanding and stuff. And
Yeah.
so, like you were in a lot of different coaching calls. And so was it a linear process? You're like, day one, oh, I'm understanding. And then it's like an elevator up or an escalator up, or was there like ups and downs and worries and stuff, like, as you went through? What was it like in reality?
There was. You probably don't remember this, but because you get like 15,000 emails a day.
That's all right.
But there was a point I remember when I did the 7-day accelerator course. I mean, it did start to click immediately, but
Yeah.
I guess you need to give your brain time to comprehend and to solidify
Yep.
understanding. And I think on day like Wednesday or Thursday of that course, I remember taking a few. I think I took a few 50 question quizzes or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
remember, but and I'm like, dude, I'm not getting any better. Sometimes I'm even going backwards.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I
And
do
I didn't know
remember the
that.
emails. Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, and I was like, well, what's I don't I said my evaporating data dump is cooling. It's not evaporating. So you say, hey, just give it time. And so I think sort of if you trust the process
Mhm.
and trust the advice, trust the coaching. I think
Yeah.
trust the process. It doesn't happen overnight.
No,
You gotta. I mean, you gotta just kind of crank on it. Reps matter. I think
I think so
reps matter.
too. Yeah.
And so I think if you can a little bit of trust between coached and coachee, I
Yeah.
think it goes a long way.
That's cool. I mean, and I agree, because I remember. I mean, it's like, yeah, I get a lot of emails like everybody else, but I don't remember all. Like, I forget all the, like, "Yay, we passed" and stuff. I do remember all the "I'm worried" like emails, which is totally reasonable, and I do remember most of those. How many days you said, days and nights and stuff like that? How long were you in the program approximately?
Goodness.
Couldn't have been that long.
I think it was about 5 weeks.
Okay.
But honestly, like I kind of felt like the last 2 weeks, like, man, I should have taken this test earlier. Not because I was worried, but I
just were ready. And that's the thing. Like when I saw you in the calls, I was like when we have our little behind the scenes, like all our coaches are evaluating all the students, you've been green for a while.
oh,
So
really?
like,
Okay.
yeah, you were green for a while. So they were like, he's ready. He's ready. He's ready. I was like, yep, I agree. We just gotta, that's the hard thing. Cause we don't want to set the date too early. Cause it's like, you know, you get busy, life, etc.
Yeah.
But you know, once you're
Yeah,
ready,
that was, I
you're ready.
didn't, so I had through my previous program, I had, they pay for the first test. And then if you fail, I guess they pay for the second one.
A lot of confidence they have in their game there.
If failure is built into the system.
Or failure's built in. Probably not the best system, but whatever. It's okay.
But yeah, anyway, so part of that was just sort of a silly administrative, like, hang on, what? How do I do this? You know, so
Yeah.
I was figuring out how to do it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that I had the affirmative. I mean, you may have behind the scenes had me green lighted, but I wanted to make sure that you felt that I was green lighted as well. So
Yeah,
but I delayed it a little bit because of that.
totally okay. And we're getting like better and better because I'm giving more leeway to my coaches to be like, if you feel like they're ready, like give them the thumbs up and go. So it doesn't always have to go through me anymore. So like, so yeah, they're always thumbing in, you know, thumbs up and thumbs down or sideways or whatever. Yeah, that's cool. So like when you think through, you know, we only been 4 or 5 weeks, whatever, you went through like the perspective, you did a lot of thinking about, I mean, we're always talking because it's interesting because you come from the military background. It's fun to like find like, you know, military and civilian have a little bit different perspective, still trying to accomplish things and all these, but different perspective. Do you look at how you're leading people a little bit differently or getting things done? Anything helped you out through the process?
Yes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to come up with something super specific to the what I learned, but I will say one of the cool things that I really appreciated about the overall approach to learning PMI processes was that I could actually see real world application to these things the way you taught and emphasized them. And so it wasn't this purely sort of memorize this and know this. It was, hey, in this situation, you know, it makes sense. And here's why. Like always, hey, we always start with why, right?
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate it. Here's why you would want to do this. Here's why. And I could see, hey, yeah, I can apply that. So I absolutely feel like so much of it is applicable.
That's cool, man. I appreciate it. And then lastly, there's a lot of people out there. Like I get a lot of OTO students, for the people that know what that is. I get a lot of like people from Syracuse and military guys and girls, ladies. And so from a military perspective, you know, having gone through traditional boot camps, and if someone's out there and like, yo, I did a 40-hour, 35-hour course. I did all this other stuff. I've been in the military. I'm getting out maybe soon, or I just want to tighten my game up. If they're out there and they're kind of like struggling a little bit or just don't know the path forward, you know, given what you've done, how would you advise them to go forward? What would you say to those people?
I'd say if they're struggling, they need help, and there's a better way. Yep. Like I feel like I was so fortunate and so blessed to have stumbled on and to pick the right podcast, and that helped me. And I immediately recognized that, oh, this is different, because I just remember at the conclusion of the first program, it was even that Saturday after, I said, okay, so self-study from here on out. I just thought I don't understand anything. There's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And there is a better way. So I just want to assure people that there really is a better way. There really is a better way. You need help, you know, like from you or from the community there. And there's hope. It's not it can be done, you know.
Yeah. And that is the biggest thing, like to see, I think a lot of people see themselves and like, oh, that person did it. They're kind of like me. I can do it too. And that's the big thing, that, it's not just like only in recognizing that this person did it, kind of that opens the door. And then it's like, all right, let's change the way we look at stuff. Let's get you supported. And let's just be honest about where you are and try to figure out what we got to do to walk up those stairs. And so once we do that, maybe it takes 5 weeks, maybe it takes 2 weeks, who cares? Like we get to the same result. So not so bad. All right, Ryan, I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking out some of your day to share. And maybe somebody who will listen to the podcast will listen to this like you listened to the past one. So who knows? Might pay it forward. So
sounds
awesome.
good.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Right on.